Hey, how's it going? I'm Nick and welcome back to I Could Do That DIY for another doll repaint video. Today I'll be customizing Honey, the doll that I designed and created myself. Alright, let's get started. This video is going to be a special one because it's a collab for Mermay. In this collab we have Faerieman dolls, Stephoodoll, Lady Dynamite creates, his name is Akin, Dolly Pop, BlurredColors Art, Electric Bunny, and myself. The inspiration for my mermaid is going to be deep sea creatures, so I'll be doing a deep sea mermaid. I was very inspired by deep sea creatures' translucent bodies and how you can see through them, and some parts are opaque and colorful. A lot of them are bioluminescent, so this doll will actually glow in the dark. Now let's move on to my sculpt. For my sculpt this time, rather than doing a half-human, half-fish mermaid, I went with more of a fish-human hybrid, leaning more towards the fish since she will be a deep-sea creature. I wanted her to have very fishy characteristics, so I gave her giant ear fins and some face gills. She also has some hip gills and some hip fins, as well as some lower anal fins and a tail fin. She also has a fin on her forearm and webbed claw hands. I'll be printing her in a clear purple resin. But before we get into it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the video. Also make sure to hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all of our latest projects. If you haven't already checked out the website, go check it out. www.thehoneydoll.com. There are a bunch of different options on the website for you to explore. You can purchase a stock honey or customize your very own. There's always new things being added to the shop, so make sure to keep an eye out. Alright, now let's get to the project. So this is how she turned out after she was printed. I printed her in crystal purple from RESIN Water Fairy. So far everything printed successfully and I think it looks pretty cool. I'll start the painting process with Folk Art Rose Pink glow-in-the-dark acrylic paint. I'll water it down and airbrush it onto the face and to the body parts. This is pretty translucent, so I'll be doing multiple coats of this. After 2 coats, I decided to add a little bit of light pink to the mix so that it would show up a little bit more opaque. I think it's helping. I airbrushed the inside of the part as well to help add to the opacity. Then I decided to add some detailing with the glow-in-the-dark paint along the fins and the nails. To add some more definition, I'll be adding a light pink to the face. This will create some more highs and lows in the planes of the face and allow me to create a little bit more definition. After that, I'll be adding a mid-tone pink around the inner eye, the lip, the gills, and the outside of the face. This will help transition the lighter pink out to the darker pink. Next, I'll take the rose pink glow-in-the-dark paint and paint on some spots. I'll be doing the placement a little haphazard and organic throughout the face and the body. Now to blend everything together, I'll be doing a very thin coat of the hot pink watered down again. Then I'll add some hot pink to the edges of the fins so I can ombre the color in slightly. Alright, next I'll give a base coat on the gills with the hot pink. Now to add some sparkle to the mermaid, I'll be adding some dragonfly glaze in red, gold, violet shift. It's really pretty. So at this point in the face, I thought I would transition to Mr. Super Clear and watercolor pencils and paints. And I taped off the ear fins with some painter's tape off screen so that they wouldn't get covered with Mr. Super Clear. I was worried about them being matte and not being shiny, but that wasn't really an issue later on. This is where I started to run into some difficulties. I've noticed when I started using my watercolor pencils, they started having a little too much grip and were actually ripping the paint underneath while I was doing this. I thought I didn't let the super clear dry enough, but it was actually over a day since it had dried. It's probably the multiple layers of the acrylic paint underneath that did it. So I decided to switch to just painting on everything. After I do this side, I'll do the other side off screen. Then I'll move on to adding more highlight and shadow to the face with some pastels. To add a little bit more sparkle and highlight, I'm going to use some pearlized mica powder. And after that, I'm going to apparently not learn my lesson previously and attempt to draw in the lower eyelashes with the watercolor pencil and run into the same issue. Fun! So again, I'll do one pass with watercolor pencils and go back and use acrylic paints. After I do this side, I'll do the other side off screen. Next, to make the lashes look nice and fluffy, I'll use a black pastel to add some shading at the base. Alright, cool. Now using some pink acrylic paint, I'll dry brush the gills to add some highlight. Alright, awesome. I think she looks pretty good so far. I'll be dry brushing the gills on the hips like I did on the face off screen. Now let's move on to the eyes. So the eyes started one way and ended up something completely different. I started with a light lavender and then proceeded to do a black so it looked like she had a very big pupil. Hated how that looked and decided to do something else off screen because I kind of messed these ones up. They end up just being a solid black with the dragonfly glaze over top of it. Next, using a UV glossy top coat, I'm going to gloss every single part of this doll, both the inside and the outside. This will make it nice and transparent and super shiny. Here's a comparison between one that's glossed and one that's not glossed. So you can definitely see through the glossed one way better. After I cure it with some UV light, I'll do the same thing for everything else. After she's all cured with UV light, we can go ahead and put on some lashes. For lashes today, I'll be using Kiss brand faux eyelashes in the style Shy. I'll start by pulling them off the packaging and removing any excess glue. Then I'll measure the eyelash up to the eye and cut it the appropriate length. After that, I'll use some quick dry tacky glue on the eye and the eyelash, and then position the eyelash. Once I'm happy with the position of one side, I'll do the same thing on the other side. Then we can move on to making the wig. Off screen, I've already prepped everything I need to make the wig. I've made the wig cap and painted it hot pink. For the hair today, I'll be using a hot pink nylon weft. I'll start by gluing it on the back. I want this hairstyle to have a slicked back look, so I'm going to start from the back and work my way up. Towards the end it looks like this. I'm just going to finish this up with a couple more pieces and the parting wefts. There isn't much to styling the hair other than steaming it to get it to lay nice and flat. So I haven't shown this part for a while, but this is the elastic I use to string the dolls. I use a thick elastic for the main body, and a thinner elastic for the limbs or any fins or anything like that. But since the doll is clear, you'll be able to see it, and I don't want you to see the white elastic. It may look like bone, which is kind of cool, but I want it to look like some sort of tendon or something inside of the mermaid. So I'm going to dye it pink. Once it's all dyed, I'm going to start stringing the doll. I'll start with the arms, and then the hip fins. After that, I'll string the whole doll together, starting at the lower fin and working my way up. Cool, she looks pretty good. She's super slippery and a little hard to pose, but super cool so far. Now let's move on to making her a stand to be perched on. Off screen, I've already started on the stand by drilling 3 pieces of wood together and cutting them into shapes. Now I'm going to bulk it up and give it some shape with some aluminum foil. Once I'm happy with the bulkiness and the shape, I'm going to cover it with some Sculpey. To better adhere the Sculpey to the foil, I'll be using some oven-baked clay adhesive to the backside. After it's completely covered, I'll give it a nice rock texture with a rock. And once it's all textured, I'll bake it off screen. Then we can start painting it. I'll cover the whole thing with a black base coat. Then I'll start dry brushing it with a grayish bluey teal. After that, I'll do another highlight dry brush with the teal. I want it to look like it's being lit from above. Alright, cool, it's looking pretty good so far, but now let's add some kelp to the bottom. I'll be using some fake plants to do this that I ripped apart. I think they look pretty good, but I don't really like the color, so I'll be painting it. I'll start by airbrushing a greenish teal on the tips. I'll ombre the bottom of it to a black. Then I'll go in with the same light teal from earlier and highlight all of the leaves, making it look like they're being lit from above, just like the rock. Once they're all painted, I can install them into the stand. I'm just going to drill some holes, do a little test fit. Cool, it looks pretty good so far. Then I'll add some glue and stick it in. I'll do this a few more times around the stand. And with that, the doll is complete. So here she is, here's the finished result. Oh my god, she's so pretty. She's so enchanting and mesmerizing. I love how her giant black eyes turned out. They give her this alien-esque quality, it's really fabulous. Although there are some things I would change when doing this in the future. The clear was actually a little hard to work with. The lack of S-hooks as well as everything being gloss made it super slippery and hard to pose. I think the matte top coat that I usually do kind of swathes the joints and it makes it easier to pose. Definitely something to work out in the future. So what do you think of my deep sea mermaid? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Also, if you have any ideas for future projects, I always love hearing those. Sometime soon, I'm thinking of revisiting the Monster High redesigns. If you have any favorites, I'd like to know now. Thank you so much for watching, and for the rest of the video, enjoy the remainder of the photos. But make sure to stick around to the very end to see the collab shot. So here's the collab shot. From left to right, we have Faerieman dolls, Electric Bunny, Stephoodoll, myself, Lady Dynamite Creates, his name is Akin, Dolly Pop, and BlurredColors Art. Thank you to all the other artists for participating. It was super fun. Make sure you watch everyone else's videos. I'll put links to everyone's channel in the description. Thanks again for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!